The Disappearing Ice Cream Van, a UK horror-chilling tale. The ice cream van first appeared on Blackthorn Crescent at exactly 9:17 p.m., long after any child should have been asleep, long after the streetlights had begun their tired orange hum. Its music was wrong. Not the cheerful jingle everyone remembered, but a warped lullaby, slowed and stretched as if played underwater. Notes bent where they shouldn't, ending in a soft, strangled chime that made the hairs on my arms lift. I was standing at the sink when I heard it. The window was open an inch, just enough to let the sound crawl inside. I remember thinking it must be a prank, or someone filming a video. Anything but what it turned out to be. The van rolled to a stop outside number 14, the old Turner house, empty since Mrs. Turner died alone 3 winters back. The engine idled. The music stopped. Then came the knock. Not on a door. On the side of the van. 3 slow taps. Like someone testing a coffin. I didn't move. I watched from behind the curtain as the driver's window slid down. No one leaned out. No hand waved. Nothing. The window stayed open, a black rectangle swallowing the streetlight. After a full minute, it slid shut again. The van pulled away. It vanished at the end of the crescent, not turning left or right, just gone, as if the road folded and swallowed it whole. That was the first night. Blackthorn Crescent is the sort of street estate agents describe as quiet, when they mean forgotten. A single line of semis, pebble-dashed and identical, with driveways that sloped just enough to collect rainwater and regret. Children used to play here. Now it's mostly pensioners and people like me, temporary, passing through. The second night, the van came at 9:17 again. This time, I was ready. I sat in the dark living room with my phone recording, the curtains parted by a careful inch. The same warped music announced it, drifting closer, louder, until the van crawled into view. It was old, not charmingly vintage, rotting old. The paint was a faded white that had yellowed like old teeth. Rust bloomed around the wheel arches. The menu board was blank except for faint rectangular ghosts where pictures used to be. The words ice cream were stenciled on the side, but the letters were flaking, some hanging on by threads of paint. The driver's window slid down. Still no driver. But something moved inside. A shadow, shifting where no light should have been. The van rocked once, as if someone had leaned forward. The music cut off mid-note. My phone buzzed in my hand. The recording stopped. A notification flashed across the screen. Storage full. I hadn't filmed anything that day. The van rolled on. At the end of the street, it vanished again. By the third night, people were talking. Mrs. Clark at number 6 swore she'd heard the van stop outside her house and a child crying. Not a baby, an older child, sobbing and apologizing. When she looked out, the van was already gone, and the sound had cut off as cleanly as a severed wire. Tom from number 11, mid-30s, delivery driver, laughed it off until he found muddy footprints leading from his front gate to the road. Small ones. Bare feet. They stopped exactly where the van usually parked. The police came on the 4th day. Took statements. Nodded. Promised to look into it. One officer, young and pale, asked me if the music sounded wrong. When I said yes, He swallowed and didn't write anything down. That night, the van came early. 9:03 p.m. I knew because my watch vibrated with a reminder I'd set. Listen, and before it finished buzzing, the music started. This time, the van stopped outside my house. The engine idled, a wet, choking sound. The music played low, intimate, like it was meant only for me. Then the knock came again. 3 taps. On my front door. I didn't answer. I stood frozen in the hallway, every light off, breathing shallow. The knock came again, louder. Wood shuddered in the frame. Hello. A voice called. It was a man's voice, cheerful and wrong. Too smooth, like someone reading from a script they didn't understand. Ice cream, he said. You called, didn't you? I hadn't. My phone buzzed again. This time, I didn't look at it. The door handle turned, just a fraction. I backed away, heart hammering, until my shoulders hit the wall. The handle rattled, then stopped. Silence pressed in so thick it hurt my ears. The music outside cut off. Footsteps, slow, heavy, moved away from the door. The engine revved. I waited until the sound was gone, until the street fell back into its dead quiet, before I collapsed onto the floor. On my phone, when I finally looked, there was a missed call. Unknown number. The voicemail was 3 seconds long. All it contained was the sound of breathing. The next morning, Mrs. Clark's house was empty. Front door wide open. Curtains fluttering. No sign of a struggle. No Mrs. Clark. The police returned. Stayed longer this time. Asked harder questions. One of them, a woman with tired eyes, told me off the record that this wasn't the first disappearance connected to an ice cream van. Where? I asked. She hesitated. Everywhere. That night, the van didn't come. Neither did the next. People started to relax. The tension on the street eased. Some laughed about it, embarrassed by their fear. I didn't join in. On the 4th night of silence, I woke to music. Not outside. Inside my head. I sat up in bed, heart racing, and realized it was coming from downstairs. From my living room. The jingle played softly, perfectly clear, every wrong note cutting into me. I crept to the top of the stairs and looked down. The ice cream van was parked in my living room. Impossible. The walls bowed around it, plaster cracked and weeping dust, as if reality itself had stretched to make room. The engine idled, filling the house with the stink of petrol and something sweetly rotten. The driver's window slid down. This time, a face leaned out. It was wearing a man like a mask. Skin sagged in places it shouldn't, eyes too far apart, mouth stretched too wide in a smile that never reached those dead, glassy pupils. When it spoke, its voice layered, too many throats trying to form the words. You took a while, it said. But everyone comes eventually. I didn't call you, I whispered. It laughed. The sound made the walls shiver. Oh, you did, it said. You listened. The side door of the van creaked open. Inside, it was dark. Deeper than dark. But I could hear them. Children. Adults. Crying. Whimpering. Begging. And underneath it all, the steady scrape of metal on bone. Get in, it said kindly. Your ice cream's melting. I don't remember moving. I remember being at the bottom of the stairs, then standing in front of the open van, the cold leaking out of it like breath from a grave. The interior wasn't a freezer. It was a corridor. Long, narrow, stretching impossibly far, its walls lined with freezers that weren't freezers at all, coffins with glass lids. Faces pressed up from inside, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. Some were children, some were old, some I recognized. Mrs. Clark stared at me, her lips blue, her breath fogging the glass. Tom was 2 coffins down, his knuckles bloody where he'd beaten against the lid. At the far end of the corridor, something vast shifted, pulling chains that clinked and scraped. "This is how it works," the thing in the driver's seat said, leaning closer. "We collect what listens, what looks, what opens the door, even just a crack." I felt hands on my back. Cold, wet, pushing. I screamed and twisted, my fingers clawing at the doorframe. The wood burned under my grip, splinters biting into my skin. For a moment, just a moment, I thought I could pull myself free. Then the music changed. It sped up, twisted into something frantic and sharp, and my head filled with it until there was no room for thought, only obedience. Only the overwhelming need to step forward, to take what was being offered. I stumbled into the corridor. The door slammed shut behind me. I don't know how long I was inside. Time didn't work there. The corridor stretched and shifted, sometimes narrowing until I could barely breathe, sometimes widening to reveal more coffins, more faces. The thing at the end watched me. When it spoke, the words formed directly in my skull. "You can leave," it said. "If you deliver." It showed me the street. Blackthorn Crescent. Familiar doors. Familiar windows. One for one, it promised. "You bring them. We let you go." I agreed. I don't remember leaving the van. I remember standing on the pavement, the night cold and normal around me, the van's engine idling as if nothing unnatural had occurred. The driver's window slid down. "See you tomorrow," it said. The van drove away. This time, it turned the corner like any ordinary vehicle. The police found me wandering the street at dawn, barefoot and shaking. They took me to the station, asked me questions I couldn't answer. When they let me go, Blackthorn Crescent looked the same as it always had. Almost. Mrs. Clark's house was boarded up. Tom's car was gone. That night, the van returned. 9:17 p.m. The music played. I stood at my window, watching it roll to a stop. My phone buzzed in my hand. A message from an unknown number. Who should we pick up next? I typed back a name. The knock came. 3 slow taps. And this time, it wasn't on my door.